Hey everyone. Well, hey everyone. Welcome to a wonderful Wednesday. Hope you're all doing well. Um, some bad news in the Dungeons and Dragons world. Satine Phoenix and some Jamison Stone fella who I don't know. um, are now being accused of abuse, or at least Jamison Stone is. I don't know if Satine is really being accused of this or not. But it'd be interesting to see if anyone comes out with allegations against her. Um, yeah, why don't we just get into these tweets, shall we? On the Bill of Lost Souls site, um, Origins issues statement following Sateen Phoenix and Jamison Stone controversy. Origins Game Fair issued a statement in the wake of a series of allegations about two of their special guests, Sateen Phoenix and Jamison Stone. Over the past several days, a number of writers, designers, and even tattoo artists have spoken out against mistreatment by two figures in the tabletop RPG community, Sateen Phoenix and Jamison Stone. All of this accumulated in Origins Game Fair issuing a statement and proceeding with a modified schedule with regards to events featuring Phoenix and Stone. Interesting. So are they being removed from the event, or are they continuing on with some strange modifications? During Origins, a situation regarding our special guests Jamison Stone and Sateen Phoenix developed. With attendee safety as our highest priority, staff assessed that there was no immediate risk of physical harm. We continue to closely monitor the situation and proceed with a modified schedule. Origins Game Fair does not condone abuse in any form and is committed to being a safe and inclusive festival for all. Interesting. So what were those? I wonder what those allegations were. For context, Phoenix and Stone have together worked with some of the most well-known figures in the TTRPG community, including Critical Role's Matt Mercer, Luke Gygax, and have appeared at special events, including Origins Game Fair. They've also launched successful projects of their own, including the Red Opera and Sirens Battle of the Bards. Allegations started on June 8th after Chad Rowe, a tattoo artist, perhaps best known for tattooing Post Malone, spoke out about his experience with Phoenix and Stone. Basically the text, the tweets read about them trying to form a contract, which apparently there was no talk of contract before, but Chad was supposed to be paid $800 for 3 days of work. For some reason, Jamison brought up the contract. He wanted to see a contract that he had with Post Malone, or that Chad had with Post Malone. And then during the course of the events, a contract was written up after he got home. The contract was brought up after he got home. And all of a sudden, Jamison wanted to see a contract. And we can read all that here. Chad writes, "It was never my intention to release this experience because I did not want to make my footprint in this industry this way. But in light of two dangerous people threatening and slandering my closest friends, it's time I share my experience," a thread. The first... they write, "I have the contract and everything is ready." Jamison writes, "Awesome. Please email it to me." Chad says, "Can do." Were you able to get the PayPal working? Jamison says he hasn't sat down at his desk yet. He's slept in until 2 p.m. Why? Well, obviously because he wants to get the contract done and collect payment for the services that he rendered to What do you mean, why? Chad writes back, "Oh, okay, because once it's sent, I'm just putting in the paperwork. That was the price of the royalties. I did the same thing with Post Malone as considered lump sum payment." Jamison then writes back as $800 a day for 3 days minus the tickets. Correct. So they flew Chad down to their home, and they're going to compensate, or in the compensation of payment, they're going to remove the price of the flight tickets. So they flew them down. They're going to pay $800 times 3 days, 8, 16, 24. So if the amount of the plane ticket was $1,500, it would be $2,400 minus $1,500, basically. The ticket prices was in the email I sent. You have all the info you need for the contract, correct? And then he says, "Yes, sir." And yep, it basically states all royalty agreements as well as securing the art in specific size, placement, and orientation for the entire tattoo design. Blah, blah, blah. And then he says, after the contract was sent, Jamison writes back, "The contract is wildly incorrect. In terms of original ownership of the symbols and images my team and I created and asked you to inscribe on my body. You did not create them and have no ownership rights over them at all. They are pre-existing and copyrighted. Copyrighted both in written and digital form and print media. This contract is a gross misrepresentation of the situation and agreement which you and I had entered into. I will rewrite the contract for you, but hear me when I say this. I am very disappointed about your lack of professionalism, Chad." Wow. Wow. What a guy. Later on, he writes, "For context, I tattooed Satine Phoenix and Stone Jamison years ago. They flew me and my partner to their home where we also stayed. There was zero conversation of contracts, just the understanding that Jamison wanted 3 days worth of tattoos. During my time there, I witnessed the contrast of shared laughs and demonstrable domestic gaslighting from Jamison Stone towards Satine Phoenix. At this point, Satine and I had a very distant but kind friendship. During the process of tattooing, Jamison mentioned that I could no longer do the tattoos I did on a celebrity after signing a contract to release the rights to their tattoos. During the process of tattooing Jamison, oh, right, okay, my bad. That makes more sense now. During the process of tattooing Jamison, I mentioned that I could no longer do the tattoos I did on a celebrity after signing a contract to release the rights to their tattoos. This interested Jamison and he asked to see the contract. It was a casual passing conversation." So that's interesting. So up until the point that if I guess what is saying is Chad could tattoo anyone he wanted with the tattoo design that he's done before, up until a release was signed on a contract, indicating that he had no longer had the rights to tattoo that design on someone else. Interesting. Okay. After finishing 3 days of tattooing, we agreed to do my old day rate and deduct the price of the plane ticket. It wasn't until I got back home and asked about the payment I hadn't received that the contract was brought up again. When I realized it was a deciding factor for payment, I simply changed the existing contract to include mine and Stone Jamison information. When I sent it, I was insulted, berated, and talked down to as if I was a lesser person. This is a video of that conversation. I'd like to see the video of that if there actually is one. What are the replies? Can we see? No, we can't. I don't think I can see those replies right now. Yeah, it looks like it might just be his replies. Um, Afterward, I had a 20-minute phone call with Satine Phoenix where I was told not to speak and that I was unprofessional for even presenting them such a contract that had never been discussed before. Finally, I had my chance to speak. I was told not to call back. Interesting. Now, did he have this conversation with Satine or did he have this conversation with Jamison? That's another thing that we should clarify. And they're not the only ones who have had this. I think this is probably my favorite tweet from him. And he looks like a. Wow, I won't get into that. Hear this. This is a tweet from Jamison to Chad about the contract dispute. Hear this. If you want people to treat you like an adult and or professional, you need to act like one. You have yet to do this, and your carelessness only continues to disappoint me and make the situation worse for yourself. I'm done, they add, interacting with you. The only way I can see you salvaging the situation for yourself, both personally and professionally, is to write me and Satine, if you so choose, a genuine letter of apology, taking responsibility for yourself and your actions. If you decide to do this, I expect it to be through the post, not email. You have my address. Wow. Wow. What a piece of work. The article continues, but Rose's story was only one of many that came up over the course of the past few days. Creatives from different disciplines in and around the TTRPG scene came forward speaking up about mistreatment, bullying, lack of payment, and more from Stone and Phoenix. The writers for Sirens Battle of the Bards spoke up in a number of threads. Below is a thread from Pat Edwards, writing lead from Battle of the Bards. He says, I believe every word of Chad's post. This is nearly identical to my own experience. It was the most awful working environment. Jamison Stone repeatedly threatened and berated myself and other freelancers. I had never felt more taken advantage of in my life. Wow. Angry Nerd Girl, Miss Jess, she writes, Chad's not the only one. Jamison gaslit and bullied us on Sirens, Battle of the Bards, for asking to be paid after we were told to invoice by one of the other project leads, Rick Hines. Hines. We eventually were paid, most of us less than we initially invoiced for, but it's done. That is, that's not good. You should definitely fight that. In these two threads, Edwards and McMahon outline Phoenix and Stone's behavior towards their contractors, gaslighting, bullying, and ultimately getting paid less than agreed upon. Along with the public humiliation of ending up on a blacklist for behavior, and behavior here, as McMahon clarifies, is simply asking to be paid what was owed, as you can see in this segment of the thread. Wow. Immediately following this conversation, Cage and I were put on a blacklist available for the entire team to see. It's at the bottom of the writing tracker. Jamison spelled my name wrong, so maybe I'll get hired again someday. Haha. Ooh. Blacklist due to behavior. Wow. Wow. Amazing. Please spell my name correctly on your next blacklist. Jamison writes, won't be necessary because we won't ever be working with you again due to your inappropriate behavior. And then she writes back, any word on those invoices. Wow. I am not surprised. And it goes on. Holy. From around the TTRPG community, stories emerged. Time and again, this pattern was the same. Phoenix and Stone used the power they had to bully other creators. Mistreatment, verbal abuse, even threats to people who were employing the pair. Interesting. Tristan. This is when Jamison made a point of asking us if we were about Maslow's hierarchy of needs and proceeded to explain it to us anyway. He informed us that using it as an analogy, he and S, obviously Satine, should have been at the top of our pyramids all weekend and should be for the day. That's when Jamison reminded us that he and Satine could ruin everyone we wanted to with a single tweet, and that it was a bad idea to be on the wrong side, heavily insinuating that our ideas about entering the tabletop role-playing game space or streaming were hanging in the balance. Wow. These stories go back years across a variety of projects. Interesting. This is a story about retaliation and repeating patterns of behavior that parallel yet predate Jamison. I hope it helps others avoid this kind of creative predation. Sorry. My story is both shorter and much longer than most folks who've spoken up. Wow. Just a whole bunch of accusations coming out. I'm really not surprised. Oh. And here, Satine issued a statement. Interesting. Let's read it. To everyone brave enough to share your experiences, I am so incredibly sorry. I bet you are. After you've been accused. I've spent the last few days reading, listening, and reflecting. It felt important to take time to respond, not out of reaction or defense, but out of genuinely trying to understand the pain many of you expressed. To everyone brave enough to share your experiences, I am so incredibly sorry for being the cause of your pain. I am filled with regret and sorrow for my failures as a community leader these past 14 years. I should have been better. I'm so sorry to have enabled Jamison's terrible behavior. Thank you for holding me accountable so I can learn from my mistakes. I now know what needs to change so I can do better and will focus on getting the help I need. I never meant to hurt anyone. I'm so sorry. I am writing this from my heart and will address specific posts individually. Interesting. I haven't seen... you failed for 14 years and you never thought to be better until it all came tumbling down. Stone Jamison may be a piece of work, but so are you. You don't get to deflect. Also, a leader cares about people. Wow. Wow. I'll have to go through these and read some more later, but I'm not surprised. Not surprised at all. Again, I agree. Her statement should have come out a lot sooner. She should have brought this up like a long time ago, but only now that it is actually coming out does she even have a statement for it or to say something about it. That is classic. Not my problem, not my fault behavior. I really think she should have distance. She should have married the guy. Let's be honest. I don't know. I'm not surprised. That's it. I'm just not surprised at all. Somewhere that doesn't have an ad, please. I'm just, everywhere has ads. I am just, what can I say? I'm not surprised. That's all I can say. I haven't seen anything that specifically calls out her, though. Mostly seems to be done through Jamison, but again, she is part of his business, or, she said route all questions through Jamison. And even though she took a step back from all of the work that was being done there, she's still, I think she's still to blame. She didn't do anything to stop it. She has to know. She has to know. She is included in text conversations, and she's read, like, this guy. Obviously, like, they're together. They had to have, he had to have shown her, right? Wow. I'll just leave it at that. I guess. Um, yeah, it's really interesting. I remember when Satine took over for Matt Mercer's, not critical role, sorry, the Geek and Sundry, How to Be a DM. And she went off in some interviews about how she was abused herself. I'm pretty sure she said something like that. And how she wanted to make a safe space for everybody. And obviously for 14 years she has not been doing that. That's just a typical I guess influencer that I've seen. Anyway, if you guys want to know more, you want me to follow up on this, leave a comment down below. Let me know. I will, I'll keep a post on this. It looks like the tattoo that, they were talking about is actually probably this one right here. I saw in the picture that, that they sent that this was supposed to be one of the tattoos. Wow. I'm disappointed. I'm disappointed in this, to be quite honest. That's really disappointing to hear. But again, there doesn't seem to be any blowback on Satine herself. It seems to be mostly on this Jamison dude. Yeah. If you like what you saw here, guys, today, you want to hear more about my opinion, there's a subscribe button. You can just, wow, I'm still taken aback by this a little bit. You can subscribe and leave a comment. I'm always interested to hear about your guys' thoughts on this situation. Alrighty, guys. Have a good rest of your Wednesday. I'm going to go stream some V Rising now. Bye, guys.